Okay, I think it's about time for that. Video game. All right. Welcome to Level Check. Welcome to my Kerbin and me, the space exploration game for the modern era, and a space exploration game for the modern gamer who doesn't mind a little bit of exploitative labor practices in their video games. KSP famously released back in 2010, in the aughts maybe. It was just an alpha. And since then it has come to a full game, 1.0 and 1.1, I think is what it's on now. My name is Kyle. This is the FunDeniers channel. You can find us on Twitter at twitter.com/FunDeniers. You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/Kyle_R_Kruger. I don't recommend it. Twitter's pretty bad. And exploitative labor practices are pretty bad. Squad, the company that made KSP, famously received a lot of flack for the way they treated their employees, their developers. Originally, things like low wages, locked-in contracts, like $2,400 a year, as well as unbelievable amounts of crunch, something like 16 hours per day. And, that's pretty intense. And the developers who made this game have said that they like it when people play and enjoy it. They've made a really great game, but it's also something that we should be aware of. Like, if you're playing KSP on a regular basis, that's something you should be thinking about, is that this game was created under a terrible amount of crunch, under really unfair labor practices, for a company that doesn't seem to really have cared about the developers who made the incredible game that they did. And they did make an incredible game. It's an extremely clever product. It's a thing that boils down space exploration just enough to make it approachable, which is a wild statement to make, approachable space exploration, but it does it, while still maintaining the things that are true about space and about space exploration, such that people who start out playing KSP can take those things and apply them to a career in rocket science, which is awesome. So I'm a big fan of this game. I played it way back in like 2011 times, back when you could only buy the game off Squad's website. And I got it for $6, which was full price, I think. Again, it was just an alpha. This was a time when people debated whether the planet Kerbin was even spherical or whether it was just an infinite plane that went off forever. Likewise, they even wondered if you could orbit the planet. Of course, people figured out that you could. They went high enough and they went horizontally fast enough, which is what you do when you orbit. They figured out that if you're above 70 kilometers and you're going sideways at over 2,100 meters per second, guess what, bucko? You're in orbit. They figured that out. Eventually, out came things like the map and the control center at KSP, so you can monitor the ships in space. But they made something really clever. And while I think it's important to keep in mind how this game was produced, I think it's also a great game that can teach us a lot of cool stuff. And for me, it's a sunk cost. I already bought it. I bought it probably before all that stuff went down. If you don't own the game, I don't know that I can really tell you to buy it, because I don't think that money's going to go help the developers who were mistreated. It's probably going to help the people who did the mistreating. So I would check out Project Beast on Giant Bomb on their YouTube channel. That's a free way to enjoy that game, and it's hilarious, frankly. It's a fantastic series. Anyway, let's fade over to the game, which I think should happen at some point. Yeah, that looks like that's working. I'm going to put the music on, because the music in this game is all right. It is all right. This game does a cool thing with the music, actually. Once you get out of the atmosphere, it switches the music over to some really whimsical space theme stuff, which is just fun. I just like it. I appreciate that. That's fun. That's fun for me. But what I'm going to be doing tonight, I'm going to be doing basically a career mode. I'm going to start a new career mode where I just try and get as far as possible. I played this game way back before there was even a career mode. And so a lot of the things that I know about the game aren't really true anymore. Like there's now drag and heat, which I'm showing you right here. I did play a little bit in preparation for this. I made a ship to get to the moon using, or mun, I guess, using the knowledge I had, and in sandbox mode, so there's no money constraints. But this thing got me to the moon and back, and they survived. So I'm not that rusty. It's yeah, it's all right. You know, it's not the most efficient ship, and it has a really slow final stage, but I enjoyed it a lot. Oh, I'm also playing with, you can see in the top left here, I'm playing with Mech Jeb. Do you like what I'm doing here? I'm down here in the corner with Valentina. Yeah. Anyway, I'm playing with Mech Jeb, which is a mod that gives you more information, which again, back when I played this in 2011, we didn't have this stuff. We had the altimeter, and that was how you knew you were in orbit, because if your altimeter went down and then back up and then back down, and the numbers at the top and bottom were always the same, you knew you were in orbit because no atmosphere was dragging you down. Now we have some tools that can help us. And again, this ship got to the moon and back successfully. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to show you kind of where my headspace is at with KSP. This ship here uses what's called Asparagus Staging, and I guess that's a real thing that astronauts and rocket scientists say. It's a type of staging where you can see in the bottom here, my delta V, which is the change in velocity, is dropping to 0, which means that my first stage is now out of fuel, so I can separate that and it peels off like a couple of stalks of asparagus. This makes my ship lighter. I'm now going up a little faster, or I'm getting faster at a faster rate. Calculus is a thing. By the way, are my levels all good? Audio from the game versus my voice, my talking mouth. Let me know if that's not great. Yeah. So I'm going to be ditching my next stage here in a moment. So again, my ship gets lighter. And then this last stage down here will actually carry me into orbit and a little bit of a boost towards the moon, but I'll run out of fuel before I can actually get to the moon, which is what this little sub-asparagus staging up on top is. Also, I've got these blinky lights. So the general gist of a moonlander in this game, at least the very basic moonlander, is a big bottom stage which you need to escape Kerbin's gravity and Kerbin's atmosphere. And you can see the atmosphere up here on the top is showing me just how much that air is pushing against me. And actually by this point, I'm going to start tilting, doing something called a gravity turn, which works because of reasons that I do not fully understand. But anyway, once I get out of the atmosphere, I'll be able to ditch this big, slow, heavy bottom and get this much slower, but much lighter, much more efficient top stage. And all these little tanks that you see attached to my ship here are the fuel tanks that are just going to get me to the moon, allow me to land gently on the moon, gently-ish on the moon, and then leave the moon and get back to Kerbin. And of course, once you enter Kerbin, you don't need rocket engines to stop you from falling, or to stop you from hitting the planet too hard. You just throw yourself at the atmosphere at the right angle, and eventually the air takes care of it if you don't burn up. As you can see here, I've got a big old ablator, a heat shield on the bottom of my capsule. So I've not been paying too close of attention. I should have been keeping my apoapsis around 90, 70 to 90 to help make this more efficient, but I didn't do that, so my bad. Oh, there's that whimsy music. As soon as you wind up outside of the atmosphere, you start, you get the funny music. But anyway, yeah, I'm not here to go to the moon. I'm here to do career mode. So I'm not actually going to do that. That seems mean. Anyhow, looks like my stream health is pretty good. Let me know if my levels are ever off, if you ever can't hear me over the game or anything like that. I will try to mess with that. Or if the game is just too loud in general. So we're going to back out to the main menu. We're going to start a new career, and we're going to get as far as we can. Now, the career starts you off with just the most basic parts imaginable. And you have to complete contracts with various companies to... That's where I needed to be. Start contracts with various companies to get money from them and buy better stuff, and you get science to research new parts. So we're going to call this the official denial of fun. And we're going to go with the no fun flag. Great. So as you can see, compared to the other one, my vehicle assembly building is tiny. The facilities are all absolutely tiny. Nothing's taking up the space that it can. Even the launch pad is just a little pad of concrete out there. Gene Kerman over here is telling me some stuff that I need to know. I can, whip around, but I've got that pretty much down. The astronaut complex, that's where I hire new people. That's going to become relevant if I start losing astronauts in my missions. And then R&D is where I will spend in my sphere grid. I can place a sphere in here, and if I'm playing a white mage, that'll have synergy with basic rocketry, which allows my white mage to actually enter orbit when casting Cure. That joke is sweaty. Anyway. In the Mission Control Center, I can start collecting these contracts, and it looks like the Kerbin World First Record Keeping Society wants me to gather scientific data from Kerbin, and that will be just sort of flying a ship around Kerbin and getting information. Or I can orbit Kerbin, which is a ton of reputation, a lot of science, a lot of money, but I don't think I have the parts necessary to do that quite yet. One second. You might be thinking, oh Kyle, you probably shouldn't be drinking while streaming, you'll lose your voice. Hey, I would say, whose cider you on, buddy? Anyway, let's launch our first vessel. So what we're going to do is we're going to assemble a little ship that will simply be launched. And in this case, all I need is the command pod, and I think we're good to go. We're going to call this the first thing. First guy. Here we go. And we're going to make sure that we put in, Jebediah Kerman is going to be the first person to explore Kerbin. All right. Here he goes. Good job. And we're done. I think that's all we need to do for that first one. We technically launched a thing. I probably could have had him. Well, I got money, though. I got money from that. All right, does that count? Oh. All right, well, it wants me to go up, so I guess we'll do things as they want us to. So something new to me over here on this left side, they've added a lot of categories. It used to be like engines, which was fuel tanks and engines. And then there's command and control. And then there was science, and I think that was about it. I don't have any coupling. Oh, this is going to be rough. All I have is a single solid booster. Oh, this guy's going to die. Oh, no. I don't have any other way to mitigate. Oh, that's what I can do. I'll just send a probe up. It'll cost a little bit more money because I'm not going to get it back. unless this parachute helps. But I don't want Jeb to die. You know. So we'll rename this. Kerbin Probe Boy 3000. Fallout just came out. That's a joke. You like jokes. Do you? Okie dokie. Are you ready? SAS. So the unmanned probe means that no one is going to get hurt if it crashes. Oh, sorry, this is not an unmanned probe. I can just... Oh, I know. It can be an unmanned probe, I believe. Right? Remote pilot assist. Crew must include a pilot. Okay, so I don't have a probe. So, yeah, best of luck, Jeb. We'll send him out to water so he comes back alive. All right, SAS, the stabilization assist software, and then the reaction control system is the little jets that come out the side of a ship to turn it when it's in space. I don't have one of those, so... Oops. Just going to put that into a separate thing. Forgot to stage. All right, here we go. Wow, just straight up no... Oh, God. Oh, my God. Okay, well. Maybe we'll still make the water. Maybe he'll be okay. Oh, it does separate. Huh. Well, Jeb's going to be okay. So again, it's been a while since I played this game, so all this stuff is really new to me. That's a really cool little separator system there. So essentially, what I've just done is I launched my first ship. That should satisfy that first contract. Oh, and I can time warp because it's a space game and things go slow in space. That'll satisfy that first contract. I will get money, I'll get science, and I'll get reputation for doing that. Reputation unlocks new and better pilots and better contracts. Science is how I put my spheres in the sphere grid, and money is how I buy these parts. Ideally, each launch should gain me a little money. I shouldn't really be bleeding money, but if something goes bad, like just there, I lost a spent booster. That's just dead money. So we'll see how much this actually ends up costing me. Okay, so I got... Oh, I forgot to click the button that gathers science, but all right. So I regained all these things. Oh, and then I got the money from the contract, so it's hard to tell if I actually lost money. I would guess I probably lost a little because I was at 26 something, and I probably got 50,000 from that contract. But I got a boatload of more contracts. So let's do some scientific data gathering. And I'm not going to escape the atmosphere yet because I don't think I have the capabilities. So we'll just focus on gathering some scientific data. And we'll do some research because now I got my spheres. I got 11 spheres. So this will give me liquid fuel, which is crucial to this game. And then engineering will give me a separate, a decoupler, and some science stuff. So yeah. It's almost like they planned it that way. Yeah. Andy, the way you actually land on the moon is very similar to the old Lunar Lander game because you need to arrest your backwards movement. So as you're coming down, you need to fire your rockets exactly the way away from where you're going, or towards where you're going, point your nose away from that. And then you need to like minimize that and come down nice and even with your legs touching down. Fortunately, they added a module within the SAS module that does that automatically. So it's always pointing towards where you're going, so it slows you down. But back in the day, 2011, it was all manual. You kind of had to eyeball it, and landing on the moon was a real achievement there. So if I get to the moon today, I'm probably going to try and do it manually, just because that's dope as hell. So let's keep rolling. Is that Jeb? Yep, it's Jeb. So now we can experiment with something called decouplers, which you saw that in the last little bit there, where the thing separated from the rest of the rocket, but it doesn't always work like that, or at least it didn't when I was a lad. So you can put in these decouplers here, which, as you can see, creates a staging system. And actually, I'm going to need one right there. That allows you to drop the heavy crap off at the bottom and continue flying up real fast, like you saw with my Asparagus Staging thing, my moon lander. And this should allow us to fly around a whole lot on this planet. And then I can stick a little antenna up on my beetly boop there. And I'll get a thermometer to get readings. And I will bring this. This is one of my favorite things. The goo containment kit. It's just got a mystery goo inside of it, and you expose it to different parts of space. And science happens, and you get money. It's great. So we've got that attached. I don't think I have much else. I've got these things, but they're useless unless I have a bunch of stuff to stick on. I probably will be flying around in the atmosphere though, so maybe we can stick some fins on this son of a gun. That's fine, right? Kerbin Exploratron. Save that. And now we do it. So I need to recover some scientific data from somewhere on Kerbin, which means I basically just go somewhere, and then there's a button I can click on my pod here. I'll show you that. I can right-click on here, and I can take a crew report. I can click on this thing and observe the mystery goo, which will tell me how that mystery goo is doing. And I can also go like click here and log the temperature, so I can see what the temperature is somewhere else on Kerbin. I'm not going to be able to leave the atmosphere with this thing, I don't think, but I will give it the old attempt. So wish me luck. Let's see. Stability assist on. And I can just go north, I guess. All right. And this first one is a solid booster, so I can't control the throttle. The second one is a liquid booster, so I can actually close the fuel line, which stops me from going as fast. And also I notice I have terrible staging over here, so we're just going to fix that real quick. There we go. Okay, now he won't die. So again, this is a solid booster, which is just full throttle the whole way. Oh boy, I hope those fins really help out, because controlling these things in the atmosphere is not great. So you can see the vapor accumulating around the ship here. That means I am wasting energy on that. I'm basically converting all the water in the atmosphere into steam, and that takes a lot of energy, a lot of heat energy that I'm just wasting. That's fine for now, because I'm just trying to get some scientific readings, but I'll dump that off, I'll put my throttle to maximum, and I'll just try and keep myself from hitting the ground. In the meantime, let's observe the mystery goo. It'll open up. And we have, flying at Kerbin. So let's keep that, and let's figure out what the temperature is. Great. So, actually what I can do now is I can try and do that thing I was talking about and try and land it manually. I don't have landing gear, so I'll... Yeah, actually, that's a bad idea. Let's just go out to sea. Oh, I can take a crew report from here, though. And the crew report will be different depending on what you're flying over. It's like grasslands, the ocean, there's mountains, there's deserts, there's all sorts of different biomes on Kerbin. So actually, any of the various places that you wind up going to... Oh, my mech jib turned... Oh, because I don't have a mech jib part. I didn't think of that. I can't use my mod. But anyway, you can get different science bonuses from doing those same reports over different areas, different altitudes. You can go into space and do it. You can do it in close lunar orbit, etc., etc. And I can speed this up. One of the nicest things that mod added was an actual altimeter, which is how far you are directly over the ground at a given time. And if we're at sea level, this thing's actually accurate. So I'm 8 kilometers up right now. But if you're over a mountain, it may say you're 6,000 meters above sea level, but you may be only 3,000 meters above the mountain. And it creeps up on you a lot faster than you might think. And if you're trying to slow yourself down to just barely kiss the old planet, that doesn't work so well. So I lost my solid booster, I lost my liquid booster, and I lost the decouplers. So we'll see how that works out in terms of money, but I'm going to finish this contract, and I have a bunch of science, which will just be nice for, again, filling in that sphere grid. This might work out. This antenna is also helpful if you want to transmit science back without having to land the ship on the planet. That's helpful for doing multiple measurements in a single mission, or if you have a probe that's not going to come back, it can still send back useful data with those antennas. We did it. We saved Jeb. So let's see. I got a decent amount of data. Recovered the vessel. We've done that before, so it's not worth a ton of science anymore. You can do that to grind out little bits of science if you need it. Got all these things back, so I got my money back. And then no EXP for that. That's fine. I got a bunch of science to spend at my R&D complex now. And this is basically what this game is. This is the career mode, the sandbox mode. Everything is unlocked for you. So you can just build. Like I built that Lunar lander. There are space planes as well as rockets in here. So you can do, hypersonic flight. So you can do aviation, which is wings that generate lift as opposed to rocket engines. You can also use turbine engines, which use the oxygen in the air to ignite the fuel, whereas rocket engines need oxidizer, liquid oxygen stored inside the tank to allow it to burn in space. So there's a couple paths you can take, or you can do the space plane thing where you use the intake engine to get up to space and then dump that and use liquid fuel and oxidizer to orbit, and then you can land safely by just coasting down. So general rocketry is going to get me a better liquid engine, a bigger liquid fuel tank, and that big strong boy solid booster. Aerodynamics, radial decouplers. Now these are nice. You can put those asparagus things on the side with that. And survivability. This is how you get people back safely. I guess if we're going to... Well, the pod that I have has an ablator on it, I think. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe I do need to buy that. All right, so let's buy the survivability, because my eventual goal is to put somebody in orbit and then deorbit them, and we need a heat shield to protect them from burning up in the atmosphere. I am drinking... I made the pun earlier. I can't do it again. I'm drinking hard cider. Let's see. I don't have enough to buy anything else yet, I don't think. Yeah, I need 20, so that's all right. I did an actual double take to that chat handle, actually. So let's see. Oh, I need to accept another contract now. Escape the atmosphere. I think I can do this. Oh, these are nice. You can test certain parts without really leaving. Yeah, I think I just slap this on the bottom of my thing and do it. So let's accept that one. Oh, let's try it. Let's give it a shot. Because I think I can get away with just slapping that on the bottom of my command pod and calling it a day. Shoot, what did I forgot which of the two heat shields it was. 0.625. Okay, that's easy enough. Oh, that's tiny. Maybe I need the other one. Well, that doesn't do it either. Well, either way, it's on there. It's helping. Oh, boy. Test. Launch pod. There we go. All right. So the way you do this, I think if I turn on... Oh, this doesn't have a wheel capable of spinning me, so maybe I just gotta weasel my... Yeah. Run test. Test complete. Jettison it. Great. I think that worked. Got all that stuff back. Let's find out. Hey, it worked. All right, awesome. So now, gonna need a little more science. So I need to take a crew report in flight above 19,200 meters above Scott's voyage. Shout out to Scott Benson. Where is Scott's voyage? Oh, there it is. So I just gotta sort of jump up along the continent here and take a crew report. Let's do it. Okay. Above 19,200 meters. I should be able to do that with the ship I used. Take a crew report. Okay, let's try it. Godspeed. I know you can play this game with a joystick or a Xbox controller. I don't do that. I use WASD for no real good reason, I suppose. So I'm going to go that way. And my staging is all messed up again. I need to fix that when I'm back in the Space Center. Okay. Good. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Turned a little too fast on that one. Alright. Got it back. It's fine. Yeah, these solid boosters do a lot. So I need to get up to 19.2. Oh yeah, there's no way that's going to happen with this loadout. Let's abort that. I'm not doing any reverts now. Now that I've started this, I'm gonna just write everything out, and if things go poorly, I've gotta recover that boy and start over. Ooh, I'm gonna miss the water. Oops. So probably, oh boy, probably what I need to do is just go straight up with that solid booster and not waste all that energy flipping around in circles. That doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that. I won't apologize. Alright. So maybe I'll put some more liquid fuel on it too, just so I can sustain that flight for a little longer. I'm good on money, so actually I could probably build something a little bit beefier too. Or no, I don't actually have any other parts. So I'll just slap a few more of these on. And then we'll do staging. Okay, so now it's set that the staging will go in the correct order. I should fly up real high with the solid booster and then turn to the north with my liquid booster. Here we go. Rockets really fly themselves. They don't need people. Probably do even a few stages of solid boosters, but maybe I'm overthinking this. Oh. Yep, still going too fast. Okay. The current goal is to take a crew report at 19,200 meters over the Scott's Voyage area, which is that way. So I'm pointing away from the camera to the north. Ooh, this is a top-heavy ship, isn't it? Oh, that's okay. We'll just manually point myself north. And then, yeah, I need to get pretty high up. But also I need to get over to Scott's Voyage. Boy, without a better stability assist module, this is actually pretty difficult. Oh, cut it, cut it. There we go. Going too fast. All right, well, I'm actually going to hit the height, so I just need to figure out... Oh, I'm not anywhere near Scott's Voyage. I need to... Navigation set to Scott's Voyage. Oh, boy. This is tricky. Alright, let's cut that. Alright, I'm headed in roughly the right direction. Maybe a little too much in that way. Okay. We're probably not going to make it. Wish me luck. All the same. I'm just going to blast over in that direction and hopefully that it gives my arc. Okay. Nope. Unless it thinks I'm over it now. Nope. Yeah. These pay a lot is the only reason I'm thinking about it, but all the same, I can just observe my goo. And I can take the temperature from the upper atmosphere. And I can do a crew report. And we'll just ditch that and try again. What do you say? All right. So this should give me enough science to get the next batch of parts, which should allow me to do an orbit. At least escape the atmosphere. Because all I really need now is a bigger solid booster, that big boy, which should put me high enough that the liquid booster can take me up to the outer atmosphere. And then I can get enough science to get stuff to let me orbit. Soon. So here's this funny thing. It says I'm, 6 kilometers up, but the ground's right there because I'm over a mountain. So, clicked off the screen for a second. And then when you're landing with rockets, it's nice to have this shadow to sort of gauge how far away you are from the ground itself. And if I were on the moon, I could go boop and pop Jeb on out. Oh yeah, and I can use my little jetpack. But I'm on Kerbin, so the jetpack doesn't actually do all that much. Okay, now we can recover. Oh, I actually got a ton of science from that, even though I failed. So I might just cancel that contract. Sorry. And let's do Escape the Atmosphere, which gives me a good amount of reputation. That's 2 stars, a 2-star level contract, and a bunch of money and a decent science bonus. I can do it. Science! Alright, let's start fresh. The usual things. We're definitely going to want some science beeps and... Ooh, a barometer. Slap some science gadgets on there. No fun allowed. No fun. Alright. So that'll give me all the extra science I need. I can decouple. Oh, no. I am going to want a heat shield for re-entry on this bad boy. Alright. Do I right-click to place multiple? Nah. Guess I just gotta keep doing it. Too many. I didn't buy a new science thing. Let's see. R&D. So I can get this better kit here, which gives me bigger fuel tanks, a better liquid engine, and that solid booster, which should allow me to escape the atmosphere. So let's try that. Bigger fuel tank, the better liquid engine, and we'll decouple. And let's just go with the big boy. Let's go with the thumper, huh? Why not? I also, I played this game back at a time when wings didn't actually do anything. And I'm not convinced they do now, but strap them on. Let's try it. No one's telling me not to, so let's do it. The drill that will... You get it. There you go. You all get it. Anime. Oh, I didn't stage everything. Looks like we're good. It usually is pretty smart about it. It usually knows what order you're trying to do things in. So we just got to break 70 kilometers and we're good to go. Now this is a real big, real beefy, solid boy engine. If I get going too fast, I'm going to start creating vapor, converting the water in the atmosphere into vapor. Or actually the opposite. I'm going to be condensing it. Yeah, because I'm going so fast. And a lot of that heat energy that's building up on the outside of the ship is just like energy wasted that could be allowing me to go higher, but it's not. It's just turning water vapor in the atmosphere into drops of water, which sucks. It's a waste of fuel. But for my purposes, I don't care. And now I'm going so fast that it's actually burning a bit, so we'll just let some of that speed burn off. I think I might actually make it just with that engine. And actually, if I remember the good old days, it may be the case that engine stuck to the capsule is enough to get you out of the atmosphere by itself. Looks like that might actually be the case. Because I'm coming up on it. So again, at the top you can see I'm coming in on 70,000 meters or 70 kilometers, which is the upper boundary of the atmosphere in KSP. And I guess I can just check what my apoapsis is in here. Hey, that is all you need. I'm just gonna kiss the outer space and then drop right back in. Take some readings from space near Kerbin. What's the barometer here? 0. It's as if we're in a vacuum. This game's okay. This is alright. Oh, no. I need to take a crew report from space. Didn't do it quite fast enough. There. Now, we're not actually going to jet straight down because that's a silly thing. That'd be a silly thing to do. All I'm actually going to do is just point retrograde, which is the vector that's pointing in the opposite direction from the direction that my ship is currently traveling. I don't have mech jeb, so I can't keep a better eye on my staging, but good enough. And I'll use this to slow my descent after a point, just so my ship doesn't burn up. I don't think I'll be able to recover this, but I might be able to drop the liquid engine over the water in such a way that it is recoverable. So let's try. Try and push myself out. Yep, okay. If I had MechJeb, it would tell me exactly how much delta V I have, which is another way of saying how much I can change my current speed. As you can see in the bottom here, how much the fuel left in my engine will allow me to change my current velocity. So if I had more than 700 meters per second of delta V left, that means I could completely stop my ship right now if I wanted to. But I don't have that information, and given how fast I'm burning fuel, I don't think I have nearly that much. So I'm just going to try and put myself over the water and call it a day. Welcome back, Jamster. No, it is not Africa. It's just a little... I assume they just cut out Africa and like pasted it on there when they were originally making the game. Just need to get out to the water. And so this thing keeps dragging back because the atmosphere is causing drag on my ship and causing my trajectory to change. So if there's no atmosphere, this line would be accurate. It would never change. That would be exactly where I would land, absent any engine burn. But because there's atmosphere here, it's creating lift, creating drag. So I might not even get this ship out to the water with the hope of recovering the engine. So I may have to just, cut my losses with that one. The funny thing is, too, in this version of the game, if you jettison stuff over the launch pad, you can actually drop the thing onto the launch pad and destroy the launch pad, and then you have to spend your money to repair the launch. Hey, my fuel tank landed. I can recover that. The awesome thing about this game is that it actually it boils the game down to a point that it's approachable and orbital mechanics can be understood by the casual player, but they're actually still true. It's like if you're in physics class and they say gravity at sea level is 10 meters per second. That's not totally accurate, but for the purposes of that class, it makes it very easy. And then when you become a big person, a big, rich, smart physicist, you can use all the knowledge you had while applying that 10 meters per second to everything that you now know, and everything will still work. Likewise, all the stuff that you learn from Kerbal Space Program is not totally accurate. They gloss over a lot of stuff, but it's all true, if that makes sense. So I got a ton of money and a ton of science from that. So I'm actually doing, 32 feet per second. Perfect. That's all you need. So now I can go grab some new. Escape the atmosphere. Yeah, I got a ton of stuff from that. So let's see. Oh, I think I saw something funny. Yeah, ferry 3 tourists safely to their destination and back. Suborbital space flight on Kerbin. That's funny. That's I get a kick out of that. So let's see. Let's see what I can buy with my science. Stability is, for all intents and purposes, useless at this stage, except for that radial decoupler, which allows me to do the asparagus staging and kick engines and boosters off of the sides of the rocket. So I'm probably going to avoid that for now. Advanced rocketry gives me some more. Oh, the Terrier is cool. It's a very efficient engine. So you can see here there are 2 figures, thrust at sea level and thrust in a vacuum. So in the vacuum, it actually has 60 kilonewtons of thrust, which is massive for the amount of fuel it uses. And over here you see the ISP, which is the specific impulse, or said another way, that is the change in velocity per unit of fuel consumed. So a very high specific impulse means that it's very efficient. So at sea level, in the atmosphere, it only has 85 ISP, but has 345 ISP in a vacuum. compare that to the original liquid fuel booster that I have, which only has ISP of 320 in a vacuum. So that means this one has, let's see, 25 more ISPs. ISPs? I don't know what a singular one of those would be, but 25 more, which means it's that much more efficient in a vacuum and allows you to get to more distant targets like Duna and Minmus, which are the Mars and second moon equivalents. We don't have a second moon that you know of. General construction stuff is cool. It gives you those big stability enhancers, like those big, I guess they're sort of like rafters or large easels that hold the ship upright if it's very big and tips over. Oh, the Bulldog is a good engine too. That's the Bulldog. Is that the nuclear one that doesn't require oxidizer? Or am I thinking of something else? There's a goofy looking one that's a nuclear engine. Nuclear propulsion. Okay, that's not the Bulldog. It's probably in here somewhere. But anyway, I think I want to go with flight control because having a reaction wheel, which is... let's talk about science. A reaction wheel are it's actually a set of wheels that are suspended in space in different orientations. So if you have a reaction wheel that's oriented like this, and I'm in space and there's nothing else acting on me, and I start spinning this, if I have a little motor in here and I start spinning it this way, that's going to cause me to start spinning that way in reaction to that. And if I spin it that way, I'll go this way. Now if I pair that with another wheel like this, and I spin it this way, I'm going to tip back. And if I spin it towards me, I'm going to tip forward. And then I do one more like this, which will give me the old spin. And that allows me to, absent using any fuel and casting anything off of myself, that allows me to change the direction I'm facing. So I can spin it this way a lot and then stop it. And that'll cause me to be able to turn left and right. Whereas if I use fuel, I have a finite amount of that, and reaction wheels could be used or could be fueled entirely through solar power. The downside of these things is that eventually the bearings that those wheels are on, if you use them to spin left a whole lot, the wheel is going to be spinning right really, really, really fast. And if you try to spin left anymore, you'll either burn out the motor that's propelling it, or burn out the bearing that it's attached to or something, because you can only go so fast spinning like that. That would have, let's see. Yeah, I guess, Outlaw Star had a ship with giant arms and swords, so I feel like they could have just done whatever they wanted, but that would be something that they could have used to spin the ship around. So anyway, I'm going to buy that, because reaction wheels are a really cool idea that someone came up with. I'm very into that, if you didn't notice from the long rant I just had about space exploration. A lot of this stuff, too, I learned from someone named Scott Manley, who has a YouTube channel where he talks about space stuff. He seems to be pretty knowledgeable on things space-related. He does a lot of space games. He actually showed me the new Battlestar Galactica game, which looked really dope, and I kind of want it. Let's see. So what I'm going to do... I don't know if I have what it takes to orbit the planet yet, but... damn it, I'm going to try. I've only got one more hour, so... We're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for it right now. I've got a lot of money, so I can afford it. So the key idea here is, instead of just going up and then coming back down, what I'm gonna need to do is go up And then on the way up, I need to start tilting myself, doing what's called a gravity turn, which will cause my ship to slowly tilt more and more. And as I'm thrusting this way, I won't be burning any thrust or any power on angling myself. And eventually I will be going so fast that I will just keep going. And rather than having to go up and then over, I'm going to be maximizing my fuel usage, or my efficiency, by doing the gravity turn. Yeah, Scott Manley's got some of the best space-related videos that I think I've ever seen. I've learned more about space exploration from this game than anyone else, and then failing that, I've learned more from Scott, because he's very good at explaining the key concepts and the things that are driving Kerbal Space Program. So if you want to check him out, he's on YouTube at DJ something. Maybe it's just youtube.com/Scott Manley now. It used to be like his DJ name, because I think he's a DJ too. Anyway, we're going to attempt to recover this vessel. So we have the heat shield. We're going to need to payload, huh? Oh. This is cool. So you can have a little cargo bay. And then you can strap like fuel tanks, like science things and fuel tanks inside of here. So I might do that for... No. I'm not doing that right now. I'm getting ahead of myself. And I don't want to get ahead of myself. So we're going to have to go for a little bit higher of a capacity here. This one's going to be mostly in the vacuum. So I want the highest ISP in the vacuum. So this one has 320 ISP in the vacuum. So this should be able to get me into orbit better than the Reliant. The swivel, so the Reliant, you can see, it has 240 kilonewtons of thrust, whereas this only has 215 kilonewtons of thrust. But the swivel, aside from having slightly better efficiency in the vacuum, it has this gimbaling thing, which is basically another word for swivel, or like pivot point. So you can have the engine on the bottom here, and if you want to turn your ship, it'll gimbal it, causing the thrust to come out slightly askew to your ship, and then it'll cause it to turn. So this will help keep the ship upright as I'm flying up and allow me to angle it to get that gravity turn. So I think I'm going to start it with that big fella again, because that seemed to work pretty well. I don't have those radial decouplers yet, so I don't really want to do much more than this. Staging all looks right. These have control surfaces. So this one provides lift. So actually I was probably screwing myself by putting that on, now that I think about it. These are control surfaces, which means they move, I think. We're hitting the end of my knowledge of KSP here, so bear with me. Let's strap some on and hope that doesn't just like send me crash into the ground. Tony, feel free to wave me off of this if this is a bad idea before I hit launch here. Baby's first orbit. New sugar-free orbit gum. For that, just etc. I get lazy on these jokes. Leave them off. Got it. I will do that. And then I just need science because I'm going to be a little higher up than I was the last time around. So I should be able to get some fresh science readings. Good science, strong science, all the good science stuff. Let's do it. And I don't think, I did do the upper atmosphere before, so I really want to get just from orbit. There are specific science bonuses that you get from low Kerbin orbit, from high Kerbin orbit, and then like interstellar space on the way to moon. And this first one again is a solid booster, so I fire and forget. How's the chat doing? How you doing, everybody? How's your night? My audio still strong? Am I sounding okay? Is the game sounding okay? Cool. Cool. Does it look like I'm a little curbing down here? With my pal Jeb? I'm pretty proud of that. Took me longer than I care to admit to like get it into the same shape of window. Alright, so we can dump that. My apoapsis is not enough. It's a lot less than it was. It must be because of all this extra fuel. So let's start that old turn, huh? And hopefully I am a Kerbal. Ooh, this is not going to be nearly enough. So now I'm going to be leaving the atmosphere, but I am not going to have nearly enough. And if I had Mech Jeb, it would tell me exactly how much delta V I had left. So I would need to get from 900 up to about 2100 meters per second horizontally to be in orbit. And actually, this is going to be dropping slowly. All the same, let's try it, I guess. I don't think I have enough delta V in this configuration to make this work. The ideal thing is to get your apoapsis, which is, again, the highest point of your current trajectory. You want to get your apoapsis above 70 kilometers because that's how high the atmosphere goes. So when you're outside of that, then you want to just sort of chase the apoapsis, keeping it about 40 seconds ahead of you at all times, because then you're kind of maximizing your fuel usage in such a way that if you keep that apoapsis 40 seconds away from you, you'll eventually end up with a nice circular orbit. I actually almost got there, huh? So I'm not that far off, actually. I just need to land this and maybe... Yeah, this is a weird mod I installed that makes Kerbin look round. We all know Kerbin's flat. The general delta V... and I'm actually going to be getting this from Project Beast, the Giant Bomb series. They said it. I think it's like 3,800 for orbit, for a basic orbit. Don't quote me on that. I don't know for sure, but I think it's around 38. It's something like 6,000 to get, 6,100 to get to the moon and back, and that's if you're super efficient. But I don't know for sure on that. And I have Mech Jeb installed, but because I'm in career mode, I don't have the Mech Jeb parts, so I can't actually measure my delta V without actually doing the rocket calculation, which is a cool calculation, I will admit, but I don't want to be here all night, and I don't think everyone wants to sit here and watch me do math. Do you? Do you want to watch me do math? Because if you do, I'd actually love that. Oh my god, I would love that. I don't think you want that, though. But yeah, in sandbox mode, one of the command and control modules is just a little panel that you stick onto your ship. I already did this, so it's not going to matter. You stick it onto your ship, and then that enables Mech Jeb. And if you don't have that on there, Mech Jeb can't be used, but it's sandbox mode, so it's free. So who cares? Does the Mech Jeb for all mod work with 1.5? I don't actually know if it does or not. I know there's some, because like Kerbin Engineer doesn't work with 1.5, it only works with like 1.1. Game versions are funny. I've already done that one. I think I've done all of these, so I'm not doing much to gain. I can do the barometer. Definitely haven't done that. Oops. I put my hand down on the keyboard and I hit spacebar, which opened my parachute. So I think it won't deploy until... Yeah, it won't deploy until 1,000 meters. So that's fine. Okay. Okay, oh, that's fair. Oh, and I can see my ablator in action for the first time. So the heat shield will just slowly wear down as it burns through the atmosphere like this. The last version of Kerbal that I'm acutely familiar with didn't actually have heat. So it would do this, it would look like this, but no heat would actually happen. So until someone on the KSP forum told me that heat wasn't actually in the game, every time this happened, I would get super nervous because we didn't have these bars that you're seeing here to freak me out. I just saw my ship on fire, and I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna die. And I found out it wasn't actually a thing. They hadn't implemented heat into the game yet, so never in any real danger. But the ablator keeps me safe. It allows me to keep Jeb alive. It allows me to protect my capsule. The downside is that these little thingies that are sticking out can still be burned up if I'm going fast enough when I come in, which is where that little open and closed bay comes into play. I slap a heat shield on the bottom of that, and I keep all my science stuff protected. But in this case, I'm not going fast enough to make it really that dangerous, so whatever. Sweet. Thanks for stopping by, Sanjo. I won't always be playing KSP, but I stream again next Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, so I might play this again. I'm also going to do Into the Breach. Oh, yeah. I think, yeah, I've definitely had games where I abandoned one person on the moon and came back to rescue them, and that person got stuck on the moon, and I sent several people to the point where I actually had to send 2 of the 3-person pods to rescue them because I had stranded so many different people on the moon, and it took me a few hours of just like going to them and using the jetpack to get them closer to each other on the moon so I could get them all onto the same ship to fly up. And yes, we should do a dual Dead by Daylight stream. I would love that. I've only played Dead by Daylight once in the last month, which is not nearly enough. All right, so what did we learn? I'm almost there. Oh, crap. Oh, Jeb. Oh, Jebby boy. Okay, we're good. I'm almost there. I just need a little bit more thrust. I'm probably in the realm of like, if it's 3,200 delta V to orbit, I'm probably in the realm of like 2,800 because I was super close. So let's see if I can buy a new part, and if not, let's go for it. Huh? I'm a little shy of buying that, and this won't get me any. Oh, actually, because I could put other engines on the side. But is it worth spending all that science? Now let's try it. Because if I'm in orbit, I can do all that science shit. You know, all that nerdy ass science shit. Who cares about that? Am I right? 4 is too many. Let's just do, oops, 2 extras, and we're just gonna strap. That seems like a bad idea. Let's actually, here's what we'll do. We're gonna start over. We're gonna put another liquid fuel stage down here. Is there a way to, like in The Sims, you'd shift click to place multiple chairs until you run out of chairs? Is there a way to do that with the fuel tanks in this game? Or am I... So this has a way more thrust in atmosphere too, so maybe I'll do... Well, what's the ISP? I want to be very efficient with this. Oh yeah, it's very efficient in atmosphere, so let's do that. And then we'll put some radial decouplers, and we'll strap big, strong boys on the side of it. That's overkill. We'll do medium boys. Yeah, that's fine, right? Yeah? Is this good? Yeah, they are some absolute units. Let's go with 4. And we'll put them low enough that I'm not going to cook my engines. Okay. Save that. Those 4 will go. Then I'll kick them off. Kick that one off. Go. All right. Oh no! I got the crappy launch pad. Alright, let's get rid of these 2 engines and hope that this is enough. I guess we're going with 2 of these heavy sons of guns. And then can I add 1 more fuel tank? Survey says. Oof. Okay. What? That would be... Oh, man. That's 120 pounds? Is that a heat shield? Can I ditch the heat shield? Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it has a blader on it. I don't want to get rid of the tip. That's how I save his life. And I want to save all the science stuff because I need that. How much does the science stuff weigh? Oh, that wouldn't even be enough. Fine. We're doing a new configuration, so we need a test launch anyway. Right? Just to see how this works. The launch pads get really cool as they upgrade them too. They actually have the thing where the thrust goes down into that little compartment and shoots out the sides. That thing where they have like giant sprinklers that shoot out a ton of water all at once to absorb all the sound so it doesn't actually shake the rocket apart. Oh god. That's fine. This is fine. So I want to maintain about just under 300 meters per second, I think. For now, until I get higher in the atmosphere. So I'm going to start doing my gravity turn. Just one solid booster. Yeah, why not? Okay. So I can start with this, and then once I get above 30, I think I'll kick the engine up. Well, I'm actually going to be out of fuel by then. But that's okay. Because that second stage, I'm going to be a lot higher now and going a lot faster. So I think that second stage should be enough to get me there. Maybe. Or am I just going to burn all my fuel? Alright, let's cut that. What am I at? Apoapsis isn't high enough yet, but I'm getting there. The other thing is I need enough fuel to deorbit, which is not a lot of fuel. You don't need much, but I don't think I'm going to have enough to even get into orbit, let alone out. Yeah, this is not going to... Oh, it's so close, though. Boy, that's close. Just a little bit further and I'd fall around the planet. Rats. Alright. We'll just slow myself down a little bit and then we'll... re-enter. Yeah, if I can get myself high enough before needing to go to that last stage, that's all I really need. Or if I could upgrade it. I should see how much it costs to upgrade that launch pad, because maybe that's... Or is that a science thing? That could be. That glorious music, though, I tell ya. What is a money thing? Okay. So yeah, that's a good call, because I run out of fuel on that bottom stage while I'm still in atmosphere, which is when that engine is more efficient. So really, adding more fuel to that just makes good sense. I wonder if the goo does a different reading if it's on fire. Science is science. Is this really high? No. Crew report? No. There's some science for you. Bring back whatever I can. Yeah, if I can upgrade the launch pad, then I can just strap those big fellas on the side of the ship and call it a day. Really, the only thing I was worried about with having those was going too fast and losing control of the ship, or just like not having, like wasting all my thrust on, like burning the water in the air. So let's see. Let's give it a shot. Oh, wow. Wow. I used to know. It must be the administration building, right? Nope. Although this is all new to me, so bailout grant. I don't need anything right now. I just need to be able to tracking station. Oh, right click it, I see. Well, vertical doesn't help with the weight problem, because it specifically said I just weighs too much. So that should be enough, right? I'll just strap some more fuel on and call it a day. Oh, shit. See, that would be the fun. No. And then we can go a little bonkers, a little bit goofy, a little wacky. There. That'll get me there, right? Hopefully. Or Jeb will finally die. Alright. Actually, do I need to put I bought stability modules, didn't I? Oops. I didn't implement them. Yeah. Okay. Now we're good. Okay, come on. Those are just for looks anyway. It could do, but I'm just going for a silly little orbit, so. Whatever. Yeah, there's that. See, it kicks all the exhaust out the sides. I love it. This game's pretty good. It does some cool stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff. I'm going to turn just a bit because once I jettison these things, they're going to fall down, and I don't necessarily want them to fall on the Space Center. So I got just a little bit of sideways momentum. Hopefully that carries it away. Good God! Or it does that. So yeah, the reaction wheel that I attached is much more powerful than the one that's built into this command module, which makes doing these turns a lot more straightforward because now that those wheels will help control the ship along with the gimbaling on the bottom. Yeah, like at the beginning of the stream I was talking about the labor conditions involved with making this game, and I mean, they're not great as they were, but you know how much of their work had to be involved with just talking to astronauts and researching and doing math that you wouldn't normally need to do to create a video game. And like those 16-hour days had to be loaded with just math, which as a person with a math degree, I can tell you, sure is something. Sure is something. All right. So my apoapsis is above the 70K that I need to escape the atmosphere. So around 60, I'm just going to basically level myself out. I don't have mech chip installed, and I'm a big baby, and I can't really do the calculation in my head of when to be burning this. So I'm just gonna crank my fuel up and just hope my gravity turn is working, like so. And that's gratifying too, just a real slow separation. So let's just point myself level with the horizon. And now I can do oh, can I not do maneuvers? I probably have to have a navigation module installed. Also, I don't know how to focus. I took focus off of the baby first. Or well, whatever. Who needs it? There we go. So now I can watch my apoapsis. Hopefully I'm staying the right distance away from it to make this an efficient burn. Because all I need to do is get my orbit speed up to 2100-ish. Like, I'm going a little higher than 70, so it's going to be like 22. And I have to have enough fuel left that I can burn retrograde to deorbit myself. Oh, it's going to be close. Oh, it's going to be real fucking close. All right, let's cut that. How am I doing? Oh! Because I don't need much to deorbit myself. Like, I need just a... That's all I need. Come on. Because if this periap... Okay. I should wait until the apoapsis. Get over there, burn just a little bit prograde to get my periapsis up. And then just enough to be technically in an orbit, satisfy the contract, get my science done, and then have a little bit of fuel to in the other direction, low enough that I'll start skimming the atmosphere, which will allow me to, it'll drag on my spacecraft there and pull me eventually down into the atmosphere, which will deorbit me. And hopefully at the speeds I'm going, my instruments won't burn up by doing that. So we're going to warp ahead towards the apoapsis. When I'm there, I'll burn prograde, which means in the direction of my orbit. By burning prograde, I'm essentially at the slowest part of my orbit. I'm increasing my speed, which means that as I slowly descend towards the planet, I will be gaining even more speed, and ideally, I just won't ever touch the atmosphere. And so I'm trying to make the lowest point of my orbit higher by going faster at the highest point of my orbit. And it all makes sense up here. Okay, so this little icon down here, the green circle with the line up, left, and right, that means that's the prograde vector. That's the direction in which I'm going. I'll point myself there, and I'm just going to feather it because I shouldn't need much. This needs to get above 70, and I'll be in orbit, and then I'll only need that much to deorbit myself. Actually, I won't really need anything. I'll need, again, just a touch to bring it down. Oh boy, I really cut this close. But I did it. We did it. We all did it together. And that's an orbit. So I'm above the atmosphere. And if I check on my instruments, it should say in orbit. In space near Kerbin. I wonder if I need to orbit first. Like complete an orbit. Well, I can just crank it up because who cares? I'm not going to lose any altitude now. And it's like chartreuse. It's like greenish yellow. I'm not colorblind. So what if I do this now? I wonder if my crew report will say in orbit. Or if I just do need to complete a full orbit. Alright, does that count? I wonder if they just remove that, or if I'm doing something wrong. Oh, you're good. I don't. Let's see again. I played this back in the day when there was so little indication of whether you were orbiting the planet that the only way to do it was to again watch your altitude and see that the highest point and the lowest point didn't change over and over. Because if they stay the same, you were not getting dragged down, and that meant you were in orbit. So that was the only way to tell you were in orbit. So I'm not entirely sure if there's a way to definitively tell that the game knows that I'm in orbit. Maybe I need to circularize it a little bit. If anyone knows. Orbit Kerbin, I did it. Okay. Alright, so yeah, I guess there's just no difference in the way these things are reported, so I'll just take what I can get and call it good. Nothing. The one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pop him out. Cannot disembark while off of... Oh! Oh, because he's not wearing a spacesuit. That would do it. Alright, so we're going to go to the apoapsis, which is where we are now. We're going to find the old retrograde vector, which is right there. And all I'm going to do is basically burn all my fuel, and that will lower my periapsis. Oh, God! Alright, we did it. We're in. And then we just warp around the planet, and I'll deorbit basically right into the ocean. There's the moon. Yeah, hold his breath. Like George Clooney in Gravity. It's fine. Or, yeah, whatever. Alright, so we're going to use what's left of my fuel to burn retro, which is the circle with the X through it and the little angles. What I've never looked up is what those symbols actually mean, like what the origin of those symbols is. Oh, and the camera flip means that it knows that I'm out of orbit because it changes the frame of reference so that Kerbin is below the camera instead of beside the camera. Because if you're orbiting, it's cool to have that on the side, so you have the galactic plane sort of flat to you. Whereas if you're leaving Kerbin, you want the planet to be your plane. So when you start orbiting, it's below you. So let's... my favorite thing to do in these situations is just give the ship a little spin and then just toss that away so I don't accidentally run into it, which has happened before. And now we're just going to wait. If we have any luck, Jeb should be just fine. So if you'll notice, before my periapsis was at about 30, but I've burnt off between the engine burn and dragging through the atmosphere. I've lost so much velocity that I don't have enough speed to actually kick up out the other side of the atmosphere. So in Apollo 13, one thing that I never understood as a kid is they talked about how the pod needed to come down at a specific angle. Too steep and it would burn up. That made sense. But too shallow and it would skip off the atmosphere. And what I know now is that it's not actually skipping off the atmosphere so much as it is like you're just going so damn fast that you won't bleed enough speed as you submerge a tiny bit in the atmosphere to stay in the atmosphere. And as far as I'm aware, the thing that causes rocks to skip on the surface of water is actually just surface tension and doesn't have anything to do with lift or going so fast that it pops out the other side. It's just surface tension bouncing off of it. But if you skip off the atmosphere in a pod, you're just re-emerging from the other side. Like you're clipping through the atmosphere and coming on out. Yeah, that the booster's still here, but it won't be going to the sun. It'll just be burning up over there probably, which is too bad because if it didn't burn up, one thing I've seen is a challenge where you make a ship that orbits the planet and everything is recovered. You get everything back. So there's certain there's like Drogue Chutes, which you can put on the side of components to cause them to fall slowly. You can aim your flight such that you're always over water when you ditch things. And I think there are other things like programmable retro rockets that you can use to like SpaceX land certain things. But I've never tried it because I'm lucky if the Kerbin survives, let alone the rest of the ship. But anyway, we orbited. We completed the contract, so I should be science rich and money rich after this. And I think I'll have time for one more good attempt at something. I'll try and find a cool contract. If you are enjoying the stream, by the way, you can follow us on Twitter for updates on future streams. I'm not the only FunDenier. There's a whole host of FunDeniers who will be streaming various games on and off. You can catch our schedule on Twitter at twitter.com/FunDeniers. You can follow me on Twitter at Kyle_R_Kruger. And I will also be announcing times when I'm streaming. And I'll probably... Hey, come on! Whoa, okay. I forgot about the whole altimeter thing. So, Jeb's dead. That happens. Let's go back to the Space Center. There was no science on that ship anyway, so I'm not really losing a whole lot with that. But earlier in the stream, I talked about how the altimeter shows your sea level altitude and not your absolute altitude, and so the mountains will sneak up on you like that. I was going to deploy it at that height, about 2,500 meters, but I was only 1,000 meters above the surface, so actually he died. But canceled that one. Orbited Kerbin. Got a boatload of money. I'm doing all right. Explore Kerbin. I don't know what Explore Kerbin means. I guess just... Oh, return to Kerbin from orbit. Oh, I should have had that one on. Well, crap. Let's do... I don't have a pod that can hold 3 people. I wonder if this will allow me to just do them one by one. But at any rate, let's see. Let's get some better science, huh? Oh, the Science Junior unit. I remember that. Oh, I don't have enough. We gotta do something quick. Something quick, something dirty. Let's use the Kerbin Exploratron, and let's go just explore Kerbin, huh? Strap some science on there. You'll know how you just strap science onto things, right? Load that son of a gun up with science. And then... This is just with the aim of keeping me a little more stable in atmosphere. And then I can also use that module. Oh, is that MechJeb? Oh, hell yes. Okay. MechJeb is in the game. Good, 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 good. Can't cover up the flag. So MechJeb is this thing down here, which actually gives me the stats on my... I don't think the game actually lets you stack pods, which... Or maybe it totally does. No, I'm not falling for that. Oh wait, how many does that hold? Crew capacity 2. Okay. But so MechJeb will calculate the delta V of each stage. It'll help me know the actual height of the ground, so I don't do what I just did. And it will also allow me to monitor the relative velocity or relative time to my apoapsis. And then once I'm outside of the atmosphere, I can use that to circularize my orbit a lot better. So I could go orbit info, surface info, and I got a much more information now. Look at that. Oh, buddy, what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, well, I guess we're going this way. Oh, buddy. I was just flexing there. Okay, we're going north. Thank you. Almost like I planned that, huh? Just sweeping the floor. Alright, there's some of the science I need. I might get some better stuff elsewhere, but we'll see. Alright, we're doing a little skip. So the Smart ASS can actually replace the more advanced SAS module, so I can click retrograde and it'll actually just point me retrograde. Or I guess it'll try to, but who knows? Maybe it doesn't work anymore. So what I'm going to try and do is slow myself. What do I have left? Oh, I have a ton of delta V left, so I can actually just bleed off some of this speed. There. And I'm going to try and just gently set myself in the water. And maybe I can, you know, observe the goo and the barometer and the temperature there and get enough science to make this trip worth it. Okay, if I feather it just right. Too much. Feathered it too much. That's okay. I did it. So now I can just click on all these things. Yeah, that's a lot more science. All right. And what's the temperature in the water? Okay. And then you tell me what you think about the water. Great. There, I got all the science I need to unlock that next level. Cool. And I can get all this science shit, go back into orbit, get some real science done, kick some ass. I guess we'll just play it easy. We'll return to Kerbin from orbit. Let's try it. Actually, I would have failed that last one because he died. So, can't pass a contract if your guy dies. That's just math. Alright, get rid of mech jab. And we're going to go with baby's first orbit. We're pretty good in terms of the amount of thrust. Actually, no, I was not good. But more than that, I need to strap on some big science flakes. Because I need to know stuff. So, Science Junior. I got the barometer. What's this? That's just like a... Oh, I bet this helps. I can, like, stick stuff inside of it? Ah, well. Not important, probably. For recovery purposes, because I have that extra weight, I will toss on a couple of Drogue Chutes. which will deploy higher in the atmosphere and slow me down so that when my main chute deploys, I'm going slower and it doesn't tear the chute right out of the ship. But because I weigh more, I'm going to need a little bit more fuel or thrust. Did we get silly with it? Should we get silly with it? We just keep going with it? It's gonna be too many parts. I need to upgrade the vehicle assembly building. But should we just get silly? I've got enough money. Yes. The Science Junior thing opens up on this side. These little panels open up, so it's like boop, and the Drogue Chutes should be out of the way. More up there. Oh, they really put a lot of science stuff. It does say science stuff. Okay, fair enough. All right. Let's get a little bit dangerous, huh? Who's gonna be in this one? Who likes danger? Valentina likes danger. Yeah, it's time for her to get some experience points. Baby's second orbit. I think this will be the last thing I do tonight, for better or for worse. Hopefully better, but again, follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FunDeniers, and don't go on Twitter for anything else because it's a horrible hell site. This is a lot. This is a lot that I just did here. Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, the spin actually helps stabilize it. Fun fact. Okay. It's like spiraling a football. The spiral causes it to actually not wobble. So, actually, yeah, I'm going to lean into that a little bit. Because this is not a stable design by any stretch of the imagination. But my apoapsis should be a healthy nothing. Wow, that's trash, actually. Okay. It's kind of getting there. Once we have a sufficient apoapsis, I will cut the engines for a bit. Okay. Yeah, I shouldn't be bleeding at all, so all I'm going to do is just level myself with the horizon, go to max thrust, keep the apoapsis ahead of me so I'm chasing it, and that should circularize the orbit. And actually, that'll be done mostly with this stage. I'll only need a little bit of the other stage, I think. So let's do it. Alright, I will need to dip into the second stage, but not much. Great. We'll go gently with it now. Only about a third of the max throttle. And once this gets to about 2200-ish, I should be in good shape. And I've got loads of fuel left. So strapping those silly engines on actually was the right idea. I feel pretty good about this, about tonight. I haven't played career mode in a long time. And even when I did not play much. It was like New Year's of 2014 that I played it last. And getting into orbit twice with not super well designed ships feels all right. I feel like I'm still pretty decent at this game. I at least remember all the orbital mechanics stuff. If I was here for another 2 hours, I would start teaching you about transfer orbits, which is how you balloon orbits up and go from a circular orbit around Kerbin to an oblong orbit that touches that orbit you see there with the moon, and then at the highest point I can adjust the other side of the orbit like I'm doing here to basically be in the same orbit as the moon. Okay, and all I gotta do is tap this a little bit, and we have an orbit. I wasn't pointed in the right direction, but that's okay. So now I just need to do a little bit of science. 25 science, that's a lot. And I assume the other ones will be the same zeros all around. A little bit more. Okay. So I did that. I got back into orbit. Return to Kerbin from orbit. I'm going to do one full orbit just so it logs that I have been in orbit. I don't know when it checks that box, but we can just whip around once, and then I will go. I've got enough fuel to actually go to my periapsis here, burn, retrograde, and circularize the orbit. I can show you what that looks like real quick. So I'm doing it a little bit before the periapsis just because I don't have maneuvers unlocked yet. So I'll just show you. I'm burning the opposite direction in which I'm going. So I'm going in that direction, but my engine's pointing in that direction. So as I start to burn, you can see my apoapsis is dropping ever so slowly. Periapsis is at 73. So 93 to 69, much more circular orbit. This would actually cause me to kiss the atmosphere. But in that way, you can see how I can circularize my orbits to allow me to make like satellites. One of my dreams in this game has always been to create like a network of satellites or a space station that has fuel in it so that I can launch a ship, attach to the space station, refuel, and then go to Duna. I've never gotten around to actually doing anything quite that advanced, but it's always been a dream. There's also a very good series on Scott Manley's YouTube channel where he builds a base on the moon just by flying parts up there, leaving them there, and then using them to mine for helium and minerals to create fuel on the moon. So it actually becomes pretty self-sustaining. He's got solar panels to power everything, and then eventually he builds enough crap there that he can just land a ship there and take off from the moon whenever he wants. So I'm going to whip around to my apoapsis. Since my periapsis isn't low enough in the atmosphere to really lose me much speed, I'm going to need to lower it more before I can actually say that I've deorbited myself. So I'll head back to periapsis. I'll burn retrograde for just a moment, and then I will have been deorbited. And Valentina might level up. All right, let's see. That's enough. All right. We'll just watch Kerbin go by below us. All right, so we are in atmosphere. I'm going to point retrograde, and I'm going to burn super hard just to slow myself down even more. And then I'll just ensure that I've bled enough speed that my heat shield will be able to withstand it. So again, my favorite thing to do is just get a little spin going and just kick that thing off. Get it out of here. And hopefully it doesn't crash into me. All right, as I enter the atmosphere, I should force it to point retrograde using my reaction wheels. Because I don't know that this is bottom heavy enough for the atmosphere. Yeah, maybe it looks like it might be. But so I'm going slow enough now that, I can probably close these doors so that doesn't burn up. I should be going slow enough that the components on the side of my ship won't burn up, and the ablator will be able to handle all the rest of this nonsense. And that should kick in around, I think it's 45 is when I start burning at this speed. Yeah. I know my Kerbals. Feels like it's a little wobbly, so I'm going to leave the reaction wheels on just to keep me pointed in the right direction. But I am going slower than the last time I re-entered, so I think that's all right. And there's a moment once this atmosphere slider gets low enough, you'll see my speed will just completely evaporate. Just as the atmosphere gets thick enough that it's like slamming on the brakes. There it goes. It's gonna be below, yeah. So the Drogue Chutes are chutes that are better at higher altitudes. So I'll deploy them all at once, and they're just programmed to kick off earlier. There we go. So my little chute is out, but my Drogue Chutes are already deploying. They're much wider, and so they're slowing me down a lot more than my little chute is. But when I get closer to the surface, the big chute will get much bigger and actually be what's responsible for stopping me from crashing into the water at high speeds. And the Drogue Chutes make it so that I'm not going too fast when that big parachute opens, that it just rips right out of the bolts, which happens a lot. That's been happening in this game since I have been re-entering. It's always been something you've had to keep your eyes on. Sorry, these will open around 25 hundo. There we go. And yeah, they are attached on the bottom of the craft, so it's going to be a little flippy until we get below 600, which is, or 1,000, which is when the main chute will deploy. There it is. And there we go. So yeah, 6 to 7 meters per second is kind of what we're aiming for to land so that the ship doesn't blow up. Fun thing about this game is if you have an engine at the bottom, that will take the hit if you're going slightly too fast. So you can actually use that as kind of like a crash pad. The engine will blow up and the fuel tanks will be intact and you'll land safely. If you put just a little bit too little parachute on there. All right. We did it. Let's see how much I came home with. Nice. That is a lot of science. and I got a ton of money. All right. Well, I feel very accomplished. I'm going to call it a night. That was Kerbal Space Program, and these are the FunDeniers. That's the name of this channel. If you like this stream, subscribe on Twitch. You can follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FunDeniers. Follow me on Twitter at Kyle_R_Kruger. I'm going to be streaming next Friday evening, I think at the same time slot. I'll be playing Into the Breach, and if I feel like it, I might keep going and play some more Kerbal. But yeah, thanks for coming and hanging out with me. I had fun. I like this game. I will see you around next time.